Why do so many smart kids grow up feeling lost, unmotivated, and alone? As children, they were praised endlessly. Teachers admired them, parents bragged about them, classmates looked up to them. They were told they were special, brilliant, destined for something great. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. That praise didn't become a foundation, it became a cage. And now, many of those same kids feel stuck. They struggle to connect, to find purpose, to simply move forward. On the outside, everything looks fine. But on the inside, they're quietly falling apart. So what happened? The answer is subtle but powerful. They built their entire identity around being smart. And when that becomes your core identity, you begin to tie your self-worth to ease, to effortlessness, to being naturally good at things. As a child, you weren't praised for trying. You were praised for doing things others couldn't and making it look easy. Solving problems quickly, understanding concepts instantly, acing tests without studying. That feels great as a kid. But there's a hidden cost. You start to believe that being smart means things should come easily. That struggle is a sign of failure. So when you eventually hit something challenging, and you will, it doesn't just feel hard. It feels wrong, threatening, like your entire self-image is under attack. You think, if I'm smart, why is this so difficult for me? And that's when the avoidance begins. You stop raising your hand unless you're 100% sure you're right. You stop trying new things because you don't want to risk looking bad. You don't explore new interests. You don't challenge yourself. Instead, you stick to what you're already good at. What's familiar? What's safe? Not because you're lazy, but because failure feels too dangerous. Your world begins to shrink. You limit yourself not because of your ability, but because of fear. Fear of being exposed. Fear of not being the smart one anymore. You protect your image instead of investing in your growth. And over time, that safe little world becomes a prison. But it doesn't stop there. When you stop growing, you also stop connecting. Real connection happens through shared experiences, through trying, failing, learning, and growing together, through being vulnerable. But if you've cut yourself off from situations where that happens, group projects, clubs, new hobbies, you start missing out on those moments that build real friendships. You're still present. You can hold conversations, maybe even come across as charismatic. But you're not really there. You're performing, calculating, thinking. Every interaction feels like a chess game. You're analyzing people instead of relating to them. You understand emotions, but you don't really feel them. You develop something called cognitive empathy, the ability to know what someone's feeling without emotionally connecting. And it's exhausting. Because now, even socializing becomes something you feel you need to be good at. Another performance to perfect. Another place you could fail. So you begin to avoid that too. And the more you avoid, the deeper the loneliness sets in. Eventually, the pain gets so sharp that your ego steps in. It tells you, I'm not lonely. I'm just different. People don't get me because I'm more thoughtful, more intelligent, more complex. And maybe that helps you sleep at night. Maybe it numbs the ache. But deep down, you know it's not true. That superiority isn't confidence. It's protection. You're not above connection. You're afraid of it. This is what psychologists call defensive arrogance. It's not pride. It's fear in disguise. It keeps you safe from rejection, but also keeps you alone. So what do? First, and most importantly, you have to let go of the smart kid identity. Not because intelligence is bad, but because tying your self-worth to it is toxic. When you believe your value comes from always being exceptional, you'll do anything to avoid effort, struggle, and risk. And that avoidance kills growth. So instead of asking, how do I stay impressive? Start asking, how do I grow? Instead of trying to protect your pride, start protecting your progress. Instead of chasing perfection, show up and participate. Let yourself be bad at something. Let yourself try and fail. Ask dumb questions. Be curious again. Not because it looks good, but because it's real. Because it's human. The old version of you believed your worth came from being special. The new version knows your worth comes from being honest, vulnerable, and present. You're allowed to struggle. You're allowed to not know. You're allowed to feel lost. That doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. And the only way to move forward is to move anyway. One honest, imperfect step at a time. So if you've spent your whole life trying to be the smartest person in the room, maybe it's time to just be someone who's willing to show up. Even when it's hard. Even when it's messy. Even when you feel like a beginner again. Because connection doesn't require brilliance. It just requires you. And when you finally stop trying to be impressive, you might just discover that being real was what made you enough all along.